We are the weirdos, mister.
Today, hi. You know, sometimes like the world is on fire and everything's quite terrible. And so we need distractions from the awfulness that is the world, because like if we all think about it, it's going to be like, you know, we're all just going to self-destruct. And so I thought it would be fun to take us to a place that I don't think any of us thought we were going to go. And that is a road where Michelle Phan does a podcast with the Tati Westbrook. I am never prepared for these things. When I heard that this was happening, I was just like, thank you, goddess. You care about me. I've been living a miserable life and you've brought some sunshine to me. I desperately need it. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to join me on Twitch. Come to Twitch where you can actually see the whole thing live, uncut, and very wild. You don't have to watch the games if you don't want to. You can stay for the games, but you don't have to. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Audra. Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. Where I do whatever I want because this is a hobby and not a job. Let us begin the starting of the things, because I downloaded it already because I was ready for the shenanigans. I was prepped. I was prepared. I was like, there's gonna be shenanigans and I have to be a part of it. This is episode 2. It's 1 hour and we're gonna watch it. First of all, if I can save you watching this, like, of course I'm gonna do that. Because I'm a good person sometimes, not sometimes. If y'all don't know, didn't Michelle Phan cure like a family member's cancer? She's gotten into some weird shit. I don't know all of the things that she's gotten into, but I feel like a lot of it has been weird. So this is her podcast, and I feel like very much like, are you ready to go? 'Cause I'm ready to go. This is what it sounds like when worlds collide. Like, this is what we're doing right now. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Afterglow. I'm so excited about today's guest. She is one of my favorite.
Side note, I put it at 1.5 speed. So if it sounds like it's fast, it is fast. It's not you. You're not losing your mind. There is weird juju around her for real.
Favorite beauty creators. I mean, she's so iconic and it's been so incredible watching her growth. So I'm excited to introduce you to Tati Westbrook. I have followed Tati's story ever since her early days on YouTube when she was doing like these like get ready with me's. I remember like her favorites.
And just another quick side note, as she's doing her intro, I just want to tell y'all, I used to love Tati for one very specific reason. And I know it's superficial, but I love Tati because she also had tiny bird shoulders. That always made me feel good about my tiny bird shoulders, because I think of myself as a tall, thick person, and I am only tall. There is no thickness. And as an autistic person, I just got to tell y'all, it took me a moment to figure out when I was working at Chewy that my coworkers were calling me fat back, and it wasn't because I had a fat back. So that was fun for me. I don't think I watched a lot of her content though, because I kind of found her weird.
She was so iconic. So we got a chance to sit down and talk in February of 2024 about her behind the scenes, her work, and also what's been going on with her life. So it's been a while since we filmed this episode, and I'm pretty sure she has tons of updates now. But nonetheless, I'm super excited to have her as my first ever guest on Afterglow. So I hope you enjoy our conversation.
I will enjoy that. Oh, wow. Whoa. I'm not trying to be mean. That intro was a lot. Not the Tati intro. I like that. But whatever weird spiritual shit was happening, and then I was like, I was not prepared for it. So I was like, whoa, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot happening for me already. I would have clicked on if I didn't know. I would have been like, okay, I gotta go.
I'm so excited that you're here. And I'm really honored because this is my first time going into a podcast. And I know this is a big deal for you because you've been invited onto so many other podcasts. And when we reached out and you just said yes, it was such a huge honor for me. I'm the one honored. This is amazing. And yeah, this is a huge
She was
first.
super tan.
I know.
Is it me?
So I remember watching you throughout my entire career, actually, because
like
I just saw that
golden
you were just someone who was so articulate, so elegant,
tan.
really great at doing reviews, and just like this trusted source. And I'd love to know, like, before all the glitz and glamour of YouTube, what were you doing before? Before YouTube? Yeah, before all this.
No, I was always in love with makeup from the time I was small. Like, my whole story is that I was giving my sisters, who I have 3.
Okay, so it's not just me. She is like orange, right? I was trying to be polite and being like, she's super tan. But like, it's orangey. She does look like the UK girlies. You know, I'm tired of you. He's quite a geezer. He's quite a geezer. I like him. You know, I like his shoes. I like his style. I like his fit. I like his joggers. There we go. I won. I'm one on my UK slang. Thank you.
I have 3 sisters. I was giving them makeovers and wanting to be a makeup artist and wanting to be in performance. I was a singer, actress. And so everything was about just getting ready to perform and just the glamour of it all. So I grew up always wanting to do something with makeup. I didn't know exactly what. So before YouTube came along, I had worked at makeup counters. I had tried to do freelancing as best I could.
Wait, which makeup counter did you work at?
I worked at Bare Minerals.
No way. Oh my gosh, I remember that whole era of Bare Minerals.
Yeah, I got to do makeovers on people.
I love the way that, like, this is why I could never be on like an in-person guest on anyone else's podcast, because let me just tell y'all, I have terrible posture. Like, look how well it's like Tati's like sitting up, like I'm a slumper, you know, like it's the other reason, like, I don't really like, dating and going out. Like, I don't want people to see me eating in public because I'm like, just like, ugh, just kind of a monster. The ADHD urge to sit like a shrimp is so strong. It really is. I remember Bare Minerals too, because Bare Minerals was like everything, especially when I first started like wearing a foundation. I love me some Bare Minerals. It does make sense. Bare Minerals makes sense with her lore.
And
that was your training ground.
that was my training ground because I couldn't afford makeup school. So I learned a lot working there, and I was able to do some wedding makeup and kind of get my foot in the door. But the reality is I struggled a ton in my early 20s. So I had a lot of odd jobs. I wanted to be a makeup artist. I wanted to be professional and work in film and television. Like, that was a huge goal of mine. But I had a really rough go of it in my early 20s.
No way. What happened?
So
No
I've
way.
this is the part where I'm like, okay, am I really opening up about this for the very first time in a public way? But when I was 26, I was not in a good place. I'd lost my job. My fiance had left me. I was living with my mom in her studio apartment. Like, life sucked.
Wow.
Life was not fun. And I was partying way too much. I was super depressed.
Was partying a way for you to escape all of that, or?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I feel you on that.
Every feeling inside of me. And it's so weird. I've wanted to share this story for so long. But when I was 26, I overdosed. And it was really, it was a moment in my life where I was just in my mind.
What?
Life. So it was 2 nights in a row. I went to the hospital.
On what though? Wow, like see, this is information that makes Tati a human being. I know that doesn't sound the way that I mean it to sound, but I'm just saying, as a general rule, we tend to look at online personalities who are wealthy or just wealthy celebrities, if you want to call them, like not humans. And so like, oh, I regret having that silly ass emote go across the screen right then. Listen, don't worry. I know that that's not when you meant it. So we're good. So this is some real shit. Okay, let's go.
The first night, came home, did it again the next night, survived, and decided to get help. So I knew at that point, I was like, wow, something's keeping me here on Earth. I'm meant to be here. So I checked myself into rehab. And in my free time at rehab, I found beauty videos on YouTube. Your videos.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna be crying. So this is like,
That's actually so good, except I don't feel like that. Like, every day when I wake up, I'm just like, ugh, unfortunately. I know that that's not a good outlook to have, but, behind this beautiful exterior is somebody who wants the world to end. Sorry. I'm like, could we just stop? I'm tired of going to work, and I just would like to not do any of these things. Thank you. I would not have had the something is keeping me on Earth situation. So I'm glad that she was able to have that, because I would have been like, wow, I'm doing a bad job at finishing myself off. I know it's not nice. It's just who I am as a person. I have dark humor to survive.
Very shake full circle moment. And I've wanted to share this story, but obviously there's been a lot of chaos through my career, and it never felt like the right time to just be like, hey guys, this is the real reason that I started this adventure. And I want to share with you that if you don't give up and you keep going, great things can happen, because I've been there. I've been in that place where it's so dark that you can't even handle breathing in and out, and you think there's no hope for your life. And I didn't have an education. I didn't have money. I didn't have people around me. I felt at that time that 26 was super old, which is hilarious.
quarter century or something crisis, right? Quarter life crisis.
Like, I should be married and I should have a family by now, and like all my friends are doing that, and I have no career and nothing, and I'm partying and taking things too extreme, and it wasn't working. And I didn't see anything ever working.
Like,
So
I
hit that rock bottom.
I can't see Tati partying. Like, I can't imagine, like, even young Tati, I can't imagine young Tati partying. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. I can't imagine it. Up in here. Up in here. It literally, like, I can't get it to, like, make sense.
Listen, what? It was hard. And it has been a huge burden of shame for a long time. I've been very ashamed of this. I haven't wanted to talk about this because I don't want to bring shame to my family at work. And then I also don't want to be misunderstood in the public eye. But I think it's a really powerful and beautiful story that in the middle of my healing, in the middle of actually getting the help I needed and in recovery, I found beauty videos and they helped me.
Wow.
And I learned how feeling beautiful can be so empowering to how you feel psychologically that I'd watch your videos and I'd write little lists and I had this like really crappy.
I kind of wish she had shared this a long time ago, because that's actually why a lot of people got into YouTube, and not just beauty content, but doing YouTube in general. Like, I got into it because I had a really shitty, verbally, very rarely physically abusive ex-husband. I mean, at the time, husband. I needed a space to go where I could breathe, because it felt like every moment with him was extremely stressful. I always felt like I was walking on eggshells. It was just like very, very difficult. And creating content started to become like this place that I could go that he couldn't touch. He had zero control over. He didn't even really know I was doing it. So like there was also that aspect of it. But it was like a place where I could go where I could have friends that weren't our mutual friends. It just felt comfortable to like be myself, because like in my home, it was not like that. In my home, I was never clean enough. I wasn't doing enough. I never met any of the standards. I wasn't fun. I wasn't interesting. I think a lot of people, especially back then, maybe not as much now, but I think back then a lot of people turned to YouTube content creation as a way to escape the shittiness of life. And that is what I did.
The little teeny tiny computer that's smaller than an iPad, and I'd sit back and watch all the beauty videos. And that first year of sobriety, I continued. I got a job at a beauty supply. So I was back in the beauty thing.
Yeah.
I'd watch videos at night and, I'm staying sober. And I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to make videos. I'm like, I'm going to be like those women. I'm going to do that.
Wow.
And that's really how
that was the call. There was a calling for you and you answered it.
Yeah.
So the early beginnings of you starting your channel, by the way, thank you so much. That's so incredibly powerful. I mean, I think the fact that just you opening up and sharing that part of your life, and I think a lot of people can relate to you, because it's true. We're kind of told at a certain age you have to be at this stage in life and finish with college, have a career, have a partner, and then get married. And I think in a way, weirdly enough, it sets a lot of people up for failure, because it's not always meant for us. And I think it's so incredible that you had this self-awareness to know, okay, it's time for me to get help.
And the thing is, it's not only that it's not always meant for us. It could still be meant for you. It's just not in that time. I think having very specific time frames is what fucks us up. You think by this age, I'm supposed to X, by this age, I'm supposed to Y. The great thing about social media today is that we're seeing it's true for some people and it's not true for others. And either way, it's okay. Listen, me and this eyelash are going to battle until the end of time. Mistakes are made by mostly me. Depending on where you're from too, that changes it as well. If you're from the South, the idea that you're not married with 2 kids by the time you're 27, there is this sensation that you are supposed to be certain point of life. And it doesn't make sense, because realistically speaking, fuck this hot flash, everybody's life is going to look different for different reasons. It's just feeling because you are over 40 or you're over 35 that all your goals and dreams are over. And that's not true. I know people will bring up Mary Kay, but listen, I know it's an MLM. Don't get started. I'm just saying Mary Kay did not start out doing that, right? Was doing some other shit. And in her 40s, I believe, is when she started this shit. So she made a choice and changed everything for herself. So I think this idea that especially Gen Z right now is experiencing something different, because, a lot of old people aren't dead. No hate. I'm not saying anybody should die. I'm just saying that's just the way that it is.
How are you not dead? I have no idea.
40 years ago, a lot of people's grandparents would have already passed on, because life sucks. Things were just different then. And now we're doing things differently. People live longer because we know all this stuff about health. We have better medical care. I said care, not system. Don't come for me. So now you're having this younger generation who just is confused about what age is and how old people are or are not. So the idea that you have this ladder, Whimsy Cat was bringing up, this escalator or elevator of life, it doesn't work like that. And if you're sitting out there right now thinking to yourself that you're not where you should be at this age, don't, where should you be? So whenever you think that to yourself, just ask yourself well, where the fuck am I supposed to be? Who says what you're supposed to be doing? You don't really have to have anything figured out. That's not how life works.
That's amazing self-awareness that you have. And I'm so grateful that beauty in a way saved you, because we have you now because of that. Like, had you not have gone through this, Tati Westbrook on YouTube would have never existed.
I think about that all the time. All the time. Any trip, event, any cool thing that happens, and even falling in love with James, my husband. I think about these cool things that happened after, and I'm like, wow, I was ready to throw in the towel. Like, I was done. I had no hope. I didn't see myself ever being able to get it together and being successful. I was so depressed, so anxious, and I just didn't know how life could get better, right? Now I have this amazing career that I was able to really pour so much focused effort into and be excited about, and it worked, and it came to life, and I found myself in really...
We have the opposite thing. Just like, I have this amazing life. I'm like, I survived. It still sucks. I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I survived, and I ended up in a really shitty marriage. I've had many terrible relationships. I've got a terrible job. About the only thing that brings me joy is content creation. Tomorrow may not be better, but at least I've got this. I'm still here, unfortunately. Tomorrow probably won't be better. Whatever you need to keep going, please use those things, whatever it is, unless it's illegal or harmful to yourself and sometimes others. I say sometimes because sometimes the self-care is, in fact, throwing those hands, moving forward.
Extreme hurdles again. And, there's been some not so pleasant moments on YouTube.
Of course, yeah.
I know that as long as you keep going, you're going to get to that next destination, and you can't give up.
Yeah.
And so that's been a huge part of my perseverance. People are
I
like,
can
how
and
do you
I
do it?
will
Like,
give
how do
up,
you keep
Tati.
going? I'm like, you just put one foot in front of the other and you do it.
I love that about
I can and I will.
How much you are able to just find the strength to just continue on, because it's true. Like, sometimes I know so many people, including myself, like, I'm just done, like, I'm over it and everything. But it seems like you have this amazing intuition within you that it's this flame that keeps you inspired to continue on. And I'm so curious, because as you're like developing your early era of YouTube, did you feel like you had to create a persona and kind of live up to that? Because I felt like I had to do that too. Like, the persona I created was like, in a weird way, this persona Michelle Fawn on YouTube is saving my life, because she is someone that I need to continue being, because she gives me hope to continue being a better person. I don't know if you went
What?
that. I love that so much. So like, let's drop all the bombshells. Okay, like, just do it. So
Wait, am I stupid? Please let me know. Am I stupid? I didn't understand any of what she just said. Am I stupid? She was like, you created a persona, and then I felt like I had to be her because she gave me hope, but like, she is you. Maybe it's that I'm being too literal. I'm not actually making fun of them. I'm just like, am I stupid? Maybe she means like masking is for yeah, that might be what it means, because I was confused. I was like, bitch, what? Bitch affectionately? I guess because I never created like a particular persona for YouTube. Like, the only thing I really did was just like try not to curse as much or belch, but like I didn't have a particular persona because I don't know how to be anybody else but me. So there's that. I tried to do the like thing, and like I just could, like I tried for like a this long. I tried for like this long because I just couldn't maintain that. I'm really just like a mean ass bitch most days. I'm hateful. That's who I am. I can't try to be nice when I don't feel like being nice.
fully reinvented myself. Like, the old me it was an ego death. I don't want to say I should have died. Like, no, it's an ego death, but yes, that happened.
I'm tired of
So
the phrase ego
growing
death, by the
up,
way.
my birth name is not Tati. It's Tanya.
What you say?
Which is interchangeable for, Tatiana is something family has called me, Tatiana, Tanya.
What you say?
And when I would do,
What you say?
little acting that I did as a child, I did musical theater, and I would use the name Tatiana. And just because I thought it was so pretty.
What the fuck does she mean? Tanya is her name.
What did she say?
You know what? Never mind. She looks like a Tanya. Let's move past it.
But everyone growing up otherwise would call me Tanya. And that's the name my mom gave me. When I went to rehab, the story of me being a little kid doing theater and using the name Tatiana, you open up so quickly with these strangers. Right. Really wild. They all started calling me Tati. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, I'm this new woman, and this is a fresh start, and the old me is gone, and this is real reinvention. And just the whole process of even getting ready in the morning was so important to me for my health.
Oh, yeah.
And just becoming something more positive. So I fully, like, it's not that I'm pretending to be someone else. It's like,
Okay, that's the thing that's kind of fucking me up, because she's like, it's not that I'm pretending to be somebody else. I'm like, your name is Tanya. We all try to reinvent ourselves. At one point, people used to call me Augie. No reason. We just came up with nicknames, and I decided on Augie. People were calling me Augie for a long time. I decided I no longer wanted to go by my first name and decided to go by my middle name, Raina. I once told people that my name was Brad because I loved Brad from Hey Dude. What I'm trying to say here in all of this weird shit is that I just think that it's funny that she's like, I'm not pretending to be someone else, but like you are, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. Like, people do shit. It's like, it's just the way that we're built. I'm just saying it's fine to make up another persona and do whatever you have to do to be able to survive. A lot of my weird ass personas came out of being undiagnosed autistic and just trying to find ways to fit in. And like, maybe if I'm this other person, then people will be nicer to me. And then I was just like, you know what? None of that works. I think that was my take on masking, was like personas.
It's like I stepped into a fuller version of myself, in a new version of myself. And she even got a new name.
That's incredible. How? It's actually powerful that the people that you were sharing space with and you were vulnerable with, they clicked through that. Yeah. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Tati. Who would have thought? Tanya. Okay, Tanya, I guess you do look like a Tanya. Like, you know, some
Period.
people, their names, they look like that, yeah. But Tati is so unique and memorable that I think it's such an amazing rebrand if there was any.
Thank you. I don't know why I feel like let's just spill everything.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. Wait, have you ever shared this with the... Wow, oh my gosh. This is amazing.
I kept, for as public as I have been and as much as I've shared, I've been able to keep a lot private.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of mystery around you.
We
but
know.
I think it's good. It's better for people to want to know more about you than to just be sick and tired of you. Mm-hmm. You know?
No, that's
now
not true.
Where I'm like, you know what? It's just, I don't even know why I'm holding it back. Like, there was a time where I felt like I really needed to.
There's a happy medium between sharing too much and not enough. Both of them are coming across very fake, but it could be my cynicism speaking. So here's the thing. I feel like they're both just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh, it's amazing. It's so pretty. So great. No, you're pretty. No, you're pretty. No, you're smart. No, you're smart. I feel like it's very much that weird girl energy, and I don't really get it. Again, these aren't the people that I would hang out with. Like, not even, if you even remove like the scandals and the shit, I just like wouldn't hang out with them. I would do an interview with Tati, but probably not because, that energy just, I just got like a booty shiver from thinking about it. That energy just isn't my energy. I don't like that. These are people that I would never spend time with. I think that's one of the things that I do like about some of my reacts is that I like to kind of get into spaces of people that I would literally never spend time with and see if I can find like some similarities sometimes, but also the other thing where I'm just like, life is not getting better. It's just getting progressively worse every day. And I go do things because I do know I get to do this. And this is the only, like, I get to do these things. And so I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'll get up for that. I'll move on another day if I can play another video game on Twitch. I'll move on another day if I get to do a little react. I'll move on another day if Oasis will come to the United States. Liam Gallagher, it's time. It's time for us. I'm speaking directly to you, Liam Gallagher, whom I know is watching my channel. 'Cause all I need are cigarettes and alcohol. Come get it. Come get your girl. I'm sorry, I'm done. Listen, Mimi, I love Oasis, okay? I would knock over 17 pregnant women to get to my tickets and 3 that were in the process of giving birth.
And now I'm just like, I accept more of myself. So this is an even newer version of who I am and where I'm headed, where it's what happened. And what's wrong with that? Like, this is my story.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
And you are in charge of writing your story. You are the author of your story. I feel like a lot of people, they live a life where other people write their story for them. And I was like that too. So I believe like when I went onto YouTube and I was creating this persona, it felt like for the first time in my life, I was finally writing my own story. And I think it's so powerful to take ownership of your narrative because the moment you are the writer of your story, you're honoring your free will in a sense.
Yeah.
So
what the fuck are they talking about?
And so the early beginnings of YouTube, you're getting into.
I'm confused. Does anyone else feel like there's just like a lot of weird platitudes? Is it me? Like, am I the asshole? Which usually I am, and I'm okay if I am. I'm a dick. I don't care. But it just feels like you get to be the narrator of your own story and like the author of your. It's weird. It just makes me feel like, what the fuck are y'all saying? It feels like those people who were like, come to my church. It's different. And it's just like every other church. But you went and you were like, what are y'all saying? Like, my church allows gays. And you're like, okay. It just feels very like what is happening. Like there's a lot of loops and they're just saying words. It's like word salad that means nothing but everything at the same time. And I feel like I just said word salad. They're making me word salad. I want them to say something that makes sense that I understand. Like it just feels weird. I feel like they're about to try to sell me some herbs, like Herbalife. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's what's about to take place. This is that party that you came to where they were like, oh, come on over. It's just gonna be us having wine. And then they're tricking you.
It's a trap.
And they're like, oh, are you nervous? Are you anxious? I have an herb for that. I'm like, I can't take herbs. It would react poorly with my psychotropics. So
you have the Tati other side of you that you're kind of like fully becoming into.
Yeah, it's just trying to be happy. You know, I was like, it's therapy. It's therapy. Like I would always tell people, I'm like, makeup is my meditation.
It is.
What are you talking
That's
about? I'm like,
true.
I sit there for an hour and I paint my face.
It's self-love.
And I leave feeling better than when I started. And it's, I don't know, expressive and was fun. But yeah, she was, I look back now and I'm like, oof, like she was still very fragile. She was still, like I can see this like innocence, like just so much.
I also need people to stop talking about themselves in third person like that. It's fucking weird. That shit is weird. Stop doing it. There's just something so weird and awkward. I look back and, you know, she was so unfinished. She wasn't non-binary yet. She was undiagnosed. She just didn't really know what she was doing. That's weird, and it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it when people talk about themselves, and that could be obviously like a me thing. I don't like it because the reason that therapists do that is for you to take you out of it when you're discussing it, so that you can maybe look at something with a more critical eye and less emotion in that moment and see what they were going through, and then be able to come back into yourself and experience the emotion. I don't like experiencing my emotions. I find it uncomfortable, unwieldy even. And you know, that's why I will just cry at random TikToks. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I just want them to talk like normal people, please. Thank you. Just please talk like two normal people who are having a conversation with each other, not two aliens from another planet.
How much of me trying to be happy. Like it was a fight. You know?
Yeah. It's, I'm so curious as to like during the beginnings of your YouTube, just like during the beginnings, like the early stage of you forming your YouTube channel and becoming Tati and fully becoming her on the rise, like how are you, because I know on my side, like the more popular I became, the more negative comments I was coming across. And I'm so curious how you were able to kind of navigate through a lot of the noise, a lot of the negative noise, especially as you were coming out of this that no one knows about, you know?
No one knows about. So I'm like, hey, haters, like I've already hated myself well enough. Like anything that you find that you don't like about me, trust, I've already faced myself in the mirror and have thought similar things. So like you can't outdark my darkness. And
Period.
that was tough.
That was bars, Tati, because nobody can hate me more than I can hate myself. Thank you. Also, these people don't know me. So you come over here and you're just like, you're ugly. I'm like, first of all, you're categorically incorrect. I'm stunning. Eat shit. But second of all, I don't care. I don't know you. Literally, you're not hurting my feelings. You can't really hurt my feelings. I like that she said that because you can't outdark my darkness. Yep. Like that was bars. See, people thought they were going to come in here and I was just going to be being mean as shit to Tati the whole time. No, I'm reserving that hatred for myself. Thank you. But like, I really like that she brought that up because I hate the way people get in their feelings about negative comments. Like, I get it can be like mad stressful, but like you have to recognize that these people don't fucking know you. So who cares? And them coming on telling you like, oh, you don't know how to blend your makeup. So they go watch somebody who does. Don't come over here telling me that shit.
Oh my gosh, we're playing with makeup. It's so fun. It was like, who would have a problem with this? And people did.
But I'm so curious, while you're on the rise, like when did you started seeing the traction and everything? When did you started seeing, wow, this is going to become a career for me?
I had on the wall a dry erase board that had every day of the week, and I would have all the videos that I would have to film that day and where I would have to go to shop for product and how I was going to do it. And it took over the room. So like my bedroom was the studio night, was my life of filming every day. But really that dedication is what got me to where I am. And I always tell people, you know, something that is overlooked in the human experience a lot is consistency.
Yeah.
You know, showing up, even if you're not the greatest.
Oh yeah, I cringe all the time when I watch the old ones. Yeah.
It's really like, there's a part of me that wants to just be like, delete, because it is so bad. But you know, how amazing for like former me, for this woman just trying to figure everything out on her own, to be so brave.
Yeah.
To put herself out there to the world, not having it figured out. And that's the other thing I try to cheer people on and say, hey, if you want some real advice, start before you're great. Be willing to embarrass yourself, embrace the cringe. Yes, embrace the cringe. You can figure it out as you go.
Did she say start before you're great? That's common sense, I fear. Okay, I'll flow with it. Sure.
That's the greatest. I love that. And I love that people can see the growth, because the shame, there's so much shame. And that's something I want to talk about like later, probably in another episode, how shame can dictate so much of our lives and how much effort we put into hiding it, when actually there's so much power in being vulnerable and honest and showing people that I'm real, just like you. Yeah. You know? So okay, you're doing 5 videos a week. That's crazy. I thought 2 videos a week was hard. 5 is insane. I did that for 5 years. That is incredible.
And the first 1,000 videos I edited myself.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
What?
So
wait, it's not crazy or amazing, because the majority of content creators are in fact editing their shit themselves. I'm literally only able to have an editor because people support me. Otherwise, no one would get videos from me. What are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? That's crazy. I can't believe you were editing your own videos. Didn't she just say start before you're great? Like, this is wow. Okay. All right. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Around this time, I remember this time, brands had a lot of budget and they were throwing so many different parties. You were probably going to these parties and everything and meeting people. I'm so, I know, because I'm so bad at like going to these events and meeting people, but I'm so curious, like how, because it's kind of like high school. I feel like you're going into another high school where you have the popular kids and the not so popular kids. I mean, you have everyone's there. Like, how are you able to kind of navigate through making friends, you know, and like forming meaningful relationships?
I always really wanted to. I don't know how successful I was at it or how realistic it was, because the business is competitive.
It is.
And I definitely was very naive. I met some great people. I really did. There was a small era where I was hanging out with Fleur.
I will say this too. I honestly think the competitive nature, especially of beauty YouTube, wouldn't have to be there if people were being competitive. Let me explain. If people weren't so stuck on them being the best and them being the one to come up with ideas, then it would be fine. People could collaborate in all of these things and actually be like a unit. But it's competitive because everybody's always trying to covet what other people have, right? And even those of us, myself included, who like got out of the game, for me, I recognize that I just didn't, amongst all of the reasons, because there's more than just one or two reasons why I'm not in beauty YouTube, but like one of the reasons I recognize is I didn't want to be competitive. I did not want to be upset if anybody stole my shine or took something I was doing and, you know, and they had a bigger channel, all of that stuff. I felt like that was like it had a negative impact on me, and it was making me be like bitchier than I needed to be. Like, I'm always bitchy, but like this was elevating my bitchiness to the highest degree of bitchiness, to bitchdom. I had my own bitchdom in which I was the bitchiest bitch of bitches. Especially if you go back to like 2016 YouTube, you could clearly see like everybody was always trying to flex on other people and show how much shit they had. The PR unboxings, which I think that we don't like them now very specifically because of the fact it's not even just because we're broke. It's because it very much isn't about us watching them unbox PR. We now realize that more than anything, it's about them flexing to all other creators that they have PR. Like, that's really what it is. It's like, oh my God, look at me. I'm better than you. Tarte sent me everything. They sent me all 37 of their shades, 35 of which are beige. What's up, bitches? Do you have a big ass box? You don't. I'm better than you. Like, that's what we can see it for now. So it's not as much fun because you recognize that some of your favorite creators aren't getting these things. And then as a creator, you're not getting these things. And it starts to feel uncomfortable. And then it just feels like you're competing with people all the time to get numbers and to blow up and to be the biggest beauty content creator. I don't feel like it needs to be competitive. And I'm not saying that other spaces on YouTube aren't competitive, but I think that they're competitive in different ways. I do think that there's a lot more collaboration in other areas of YouTube, just the ones that I watch. And I feel like a lot of that is very much because of the fact that people want to grow together, because most of my YouTube watching habits are Black creators. Everybody's trying to make sure that like other Black creators in the same arena get shine, other gay creators in the same arena get shine. So people work together to make that happen. Honestly, it starts to just make you feel uncomfortable making content, and I don't like it. I don't have the energy to like be able to do PR in the timely fashion that it needs to be done in, because I have a job. If I have to choose between the things I'm going to do the thing that is actually paying my bills, because your PR box isn't. I can't pay bills with PR.
Ingrid and Glamorazzi. We did a girls trip to IMATS in New York, and I got to go over to IMATS London, and like so there were like these cool, like I wouldn't call it cliquey, but like there were real friends. Nikki Philippi was also kind of in that group.
A very talented group too.
Yeah, really talented, and everybody was just really hustling and focused, but not backstabbing or terrible to one another. Like, I don't remember that being a huge part of the story. Were there people that spread rumors and played it like high school? Yeah, that happened. Yeah, for sure. But you know, there were some good times.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of just grows up and starts doing different things.
They have their life.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
No, I totally understand.
I'm just wondering, like,
Throughout this entire time, as you're making friends and you're forming relationships, did you ever feel like they were using you, or they were using you for clout, or did it
I hate the word clout.
meaningful?
It sounds like an STD.
I mean, do we want to go there?
STI.
Like, should we go there? Let's just Let's just drink this water. Let's just.
I would also like to state this. I know that this is only Michelle's like second episode. I hate the way that she approaches asking questions. This doesn't feel like a natural conversation, and I needed to feel like a natural conversation between two people who are having a good time with one another. But right now, it feels like she's searching very hard to find things to say, and she's like asking the same question in different ways, because what she wants to ask is, who did you hang out with or thought you were friends with that turned out to be really just using you? That's the question that you ask. But she's not doing a good job. She keeps dancing around the subject. Like if it were me, just hit the question. Number one, you did all this stuff. You get into YouTube. You're starting to go on these trips. Did you feel like any of these people that you were hanging out with, that you were friends with, like some of the people that you named, you said you weren't having problems with, who were some people that you did feel like were just using you? You don't have to answer that, or you don't have to name names if you don't want to, but like, did you feel like there were people who were using you? But she keeps doing this weird dance and talking about clicks, and like, it's like, just ask the question, girl. It's your podcast. If she doesn't want to answer, she doesn't have to answer. If it makes her uncomfortable, you cut that shit out. Can we get to the point? Like, just say it, because damn. Yeah, but they've got to be nice women that don't cause drama, and that's too direct for that. Part of feminism is recognizing that we don't have to do things in the softest of manners just because it makes people feel more comfortable. Ask the fucking question so that we can all move forward. 20 minutes in, I haven't really learned anything. Two things I didn't know. One, this is Tanya. This is Tanya. Wow, that's a cool thing to learn. Second thing, girlfriend OD'd twice. I'm assuming it's on alcohol because she didn't say what it was. Every time you Ralph, that is a form of OD. They like to call it intoxication, but like call it by its real name, to be honest. Tanya's about to spill. Let's go.
So it's so crazy because when I'm hearing you speak, it's like, oh my gosh, we literally have parallel lives. Like what you experienced, I experienced something like that, but just in my own way, right? And like you too, I had a lot of really cool friends that I made along the way. Most of them were net positive, but some of the friends that I did make that I truly thought had my back, and they were hanging out with me in my house. Like when you come into my house, you know, I have a partner. It's like you really get to know me, and I don't invite anyone into my home until I feel like there's trust, right? So I was naive to think like a lot of these people that were that close to me had my best interest at heart. It wasn't until later I found out through rumors and people coming out of the woodwork and finally telling me, hey, so-and-so said this about you. And it's like, wait, what? Like, this is someone I helped. I literally helped their career. I taught them. It's so insane. Like
It is.
the feeling of
Hurts so deeply. Like it's very different when that happens.
Yeah. I was also like you, like so naive, thinking like I thought everyone was good at heart. Like I thought if you showed up and you were authentic and you were loving and you were honest and you were just, you know, like open heart, you would receive the same thing. But I didn't know that there are people who, well, they have alternative motives and borderline, I don't want to psychoanalyze, but there's a lot of narcissistic tendencies. And I didn't know that existed until way later after everything was burnt down.
I'm just going to throw this out here. Saying someone has narcissistic tendencies is not psychoanalyzing, because you're not saying that they are a narcissist. You're saying they have tendencies and or characteristics, which people can have characteristics of all of those things and not be the thing. Because I feel like when we learn things, we think we are psychoanalyzing somebody by saying that. But like, no, somebody can have narcissistic tendencies, not necessarily be a narcissist, but they can have some of those tendencies. There's a lot of vanity in beauty content, and there's a lot of vanity in having your face on things. Yeah, I honestly wish they would call narcissistic personality disorder something else. I do too. I really do, because like there is a difference between being an actual narcissist and having tendencies. I think most people would have some narcissistic tendencies. Most people would have some form of vanity. These are things that a lot of people would have. A lot of people have some sociopathic tendencies. That doesn't mean you're a sociopath. It just means that some things make you behave in this way, whether it's past trauma or trying to protect yourself, like whatever it is. It is too easy to conflate the terms. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because she's trying to like pad this. She doesn't have to pad it. If you were trying to psychoanalyze somebody, you'd be like, I don't want to psychoanalyze somebody, but it does seem like they are a narcissist because of XYZ, and this is what I've learned about narcissism. It doesn't mean I'm a doctor. It doesn't mean I'm a psychiatrist or a therapist. This is just my armchair psychiatrist opinion. Fine. But you don't have to like preface it. Like a lot of these people would be behaving with narcissistic behaviors because this is a narcissistic job in a lot of ways. It just is. You have to love yourself and care about yourself. Also, just a side note, in that Tati was talking about like how she would look at her old content and be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's so cringy. I do not feel like that. I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry.
My try-ons were lit. Eat shit. I love like everything. Listen, I'm a Taurus with a Leo rising, so this shouldn't surprise people. My astrological girlies, obviously. I'm over here like, my shit don't stink. Does it? Yes. But do I feel like that? Absolutely not. I think I'm great. Thank you.
And I'm so curious if you also went through that too.
Yes, many times. That's the wild thing, is there's definitely been like an ebb and flow. So gosh, where do I start with this?
Yeah,
So in the
answer
early
a
days,
question.
It was really just like small stuff. Like someone didn't want to hang out with you at the party, and it was like really just dumb, right? Like, who cares? But then as things grew and it got more cutthroat, it really was a lot of people coming into your life to see, who do you know that I can network with? What can I get out of this relationship? And that happened, absolutely. And something that I've never been able to really clear up, because I've tried to let the past stay in the past, but hey, we're kind of digging up a bunch of stuff right now. So back in the day, I did help James Charles quite a bit. And I think that there's been a big misconception that I somehow pursued the relationship with him. He was 17. He didn't have an established channel. He was the one hitting up me in my DMs. We met the first time at Generation Beauty in New York. Oh my gosh, in the rain room. And he was like, oh my gosh, I love your channel. Like, let's hang out in LA. It was him pursuing me. So a lot of people have felt that I somehow was pursuing him for a benefit. And that was a weird part of the story. During that time, like, my channel was growing.
Who are the people who thought that? Because I never thought that. It never occurred to me. I never once thought that Tati was like pursuing a friendship with James Charles. I automatically assumed that he reached out to her and she mothered him. So I never thought that was what was happening. At least we're getting into some meat here. We're 23 minutes into this thing and we're finally getting into it. And yes, but that's also part of the business and how to network. Of course, people are going to use you for contacts. 100%. I've said this all the time. Like, I don't care if people social climb. I don't give a fuck. Social climb all you want to, but be honest about doing that. That's all. Like, if you're trying to social climb on me, like, I don't know why I don't have any capital.
Please. Shut your mouth.
But if you're trying to social climb on me, tell me that you're doing that. Then I'm not mistaking what's happening at all. Like, I'm fully aware that is what we are doing here, and that's fine. Like, a mutually beneficial relationship, who cares? Like, I don't care. We don't have to be friends to make content. We don't have to be friends to support one another in the public sphere. But like, if you are playing games where you're pretending, i.e. when everybody was Black Lives Mattering things and trying to like hang out with Black content creators so they could be like, see, I have a Black friend. Like, I wasn't interested in that. No, we're not friends. We don't actually like each other. And I can't stand the air that you breathe. So I'm fine if we just don't hang out at all. I kind of am hoping that you lose your voice for all of eternity.
What I want from you is
Your voice.
Why am I so mean? Because I was born this way. I was born on an evening, a dark evening. There was no moon out. BLM Summer 2020 is part of my villain origin story. Me too. Because that's what everybody and their mom started coming up and being like, let me talk about Shade Ranger. Shade Ranger's terrible. And now we haven't gotten away from it. Like, please. But also, who was the adult in this situation? Even if James did pursue Tati, she had the maturity to slow the pace. That part too. And maybe she didn't. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she didn't. Because age doesn't equal mature. That's why we still have these grown men who act like this. But let's see if she gets into the real meat. And that came out worse than I wanted it to.
There were a lot of people coming at me that wanted to suddenly be my friend, and that was really bizarre. I had been through cycles of drama, kind of kept to my own. If you're filming every day of the week, you don't have a lot of time for all of these relationships, It's true. So I'd work a lot. And then the other relationship that kind of came to me that wasn't what I pursued, just to clear things up, is Jeffree Star. So how I met him the first time was I had a lunch set up with Laura Lee, and we were going to Cheesecake Factory and just gonna kind of hang out and get to know each other a little bit better. And literally like 15 minutes before the lunch, she calls me and is like, hey, just heads up, Jeffree's coming. And at the time, like, he was killing it, right? Like, he was amazing and growing. And also he was totally terrifying. And so I was just like, oh no, like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of an idiot. And I'm kind of like this innocent, like, boring, like my channel's like, I'm kind of boring, like, this is gonna be wild.
Girl, don't be out here. I'm kind of this like sweet, innocent, tiny person who could never possibly hang out with the likes of Jeffree Star. My goodness, Lee, I do declare, please don't bring him here. I can't do it. I'm too sweet, too frail, too fragile. I'm just a sweet, innocent, fragile creature. And for him to come near me such a time when I am on my own little island, just innocent and sweet, unable to fathom the likes of a mean and vile Jeffree Star. I don't even know him. My goodness, will he perhaps want to collaborate with the likes of me? Tanya, the innocent? Come on, that's ridiculous. Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't know why I'm like this as a person, but also I do. I wanted to be an actress and scene, bitch.
Why does he want to go to lunch with me? Like, this is crazy. because we're definitely an odd pairing, right? So we all went to lunch, and it blew my mind. And this is something I'll say to his credit. We sat down, and he had told me that he had heard through the rumor mill that someone had been spreading some pretty nasty rumors about me, and that he didn't judge people until he got to know them. And then Laura was like, yeah, I heard the same rumor, and Mandy knows about this, and Patrick knows about this. And I'm like, well, I have like 5 girlfriends that have told me the same story, so this person is clearly spreading a lot of lies. And that was upsetting, but also like bonded us in that instant. I was like, oh my gosh. Like the person that maybe I had judged that I thought was really scary in front of me was so cool.
And that is a tactic that those who have narcissistic tendencies and or abusive tendencies use. That's called a trauma bond. Guess what? I know we've just met and I don't judge people unless I meet them, but people were saying some really nasty things about you. Everybody in my circle heard about it. Do you believe me now? To her credit, that's what happened.
Intelligent, charismatic. Like, I immediately liked him a lot. And I was like, that's so awesome that you're not going to listen to a rumor and you want to get to know me. Like, okay, we're really different, but like, let's get to know each other. And that's how that friendship started.
Wow.
So I never pursued anyone that I ended up in big, yeah, you're doing 5 videos a week. You don't have time to pursue. No. So they kind of, pursued the friendship.
I just want to know who thought Tati was, because I never thought Tati was pursuing these relationships. I did think that she allowed them to grow for her own benefit at some point. I didn't feel like she was out there trying to become friends with Jeffree Star. I didn't think that that was something she was after. Just because like Tanya's on her own island doing Tanya things.
It was exciting. Blew up in my face, but and even I wouldn't call it a friendship with Shane, but he pursued me too. So it was like I look back at my life and I'm like, wow, like I was my own little island, and like, how did this happen?
Did you think Cleo wasn't gonna see that?
But it happened.
I have not seen this before.
I mean, since we're on that topic, I remember that just broke the internet. That whole era
did.
Okay, first off, I have to give you so much props. You are so brave for just speaking truth like that, because there's been so many times I wanted to do a my truth video and I'm like, not ready. I don't want to do this because
I hate
know
my
the
truth
repercussions.
videos.
Like I know like the attacks and everything, and so I'm so curious as to like how are you feeling on the lead up to that? Like it's not like something that just I woke up and I'm just gonna do this. Like something, it was probably boiling for a long time, right? You're talking about Bi Sister or just leading up to all of that?
Leading up to all of that. Okay.
Because I know it's not an overnight thing doing something
I
like
need
that.
more therapy for this, It's still like, it's been 5 years, about 5 years, since the infamous birthday party dinner, which I haven't celebrated a birthday in 5 years. That's something that, are you serious? It's like on the shelf. Yeah, like that was the last birthday party I had, and it was horrific.
Like sucking dick and cock.
Insert, and you did it at my birthday dinner.
And you did it at my birthday dinner.
Here's the thing. I can't go in a time machine and like, oh, I wish that dinner had never happened. Like I can't undo what happened. But that was the catalyst for everything moving forward. We all know what Bi Sister was about. Did I think it would blow into what it was? Did I have the capacity to have 50 million views on a video? No. Me? No.
And I think people forget this. I know multiple people are doing rehashings of this. We need to remember that, like, especially if you pay attention to the multiple rehashings of the Bi Sister drama, we need to recognize, not James of today, we're going back in time.
Time and place.
Before we knew about the minors situation, right? Right. So James does his whole, and I still to this day, I don't think he was lying about why he worked with Sugar Bear Hair. I don't feel like he's much of a liar. I feel like he embellishes things, but I just never got like James is a liar, except for when it comes to his interactions with minors. But that's not funny. That's illegal. Anyways, one of the key points of this that everybody kind of forgets is that James was trying to get in touch with Tati, and he was trying to get in touch with her husband, James. He was trying to reach out to them over and over and over again. The thing that always bothers me about the Bi Sister situation, that she acts like she had no choice, but like literally, girlfriend, you did, and you chose violence. Okay. You chose violence. 100% you chose violence because you didn't call him back. You didn't have a conversation with him. You put out a video online for everyone to watch decimating him. It doesn't matter if you love Tati or hate Tanya, like whatever it is, you have to recognize that she had an option and she chose the option of violence and destruction to a not well-formed child at that point, like a not well-formed, barely getting into adulthood person. Not James of today. I'm not defending James. Just calm down. I'm not defending today, James. I'm defending James of yesteryear before we knew. Let's just try to remember that. She chose the camera app and not the bloody call app when she picked up that phone. Yeah, this all could have been resolved or at least talked about. And that's not what happened. Exactly. Still to this day, things are believed as truth because Tanya said it. I'm going to keep calling her Tanya. Her name's Tanya.
like a couple million, and we've broken up and we're done, and I don't associate with him anymore and we're done. Like, that's really where I was at. I felt like I had to make that video, but I had a lot of noise in my ear, and a lot of powerful people bringing information to me, and it happened. I was really distraught over the information. It was very triggering to me. I've had to overcome some pretty significant trauma in my life, and it triggered every part of me, the information that I was hearing. And a lot of people want to say, like, well, why didn't you go to the police? Why didn't you? Like, if things are of that nature and they're not affecting you directly, you can't. I felt like I needed to cut ties publicly. I didn't like how he was behaving.
It's not that they weren't affecting them. It's that she didn't have her actual proof. That's what she should say and be honest about. Like, I can think somebody has done some things, but if I don't have any proof to give to the police, this is why he's not really in jail, because most people don't have concrete proof of the situation. Even if he admits to things, if those people aren't willing, because it depends on state. There are some states where the states will press charges for you. There are a lot more states moving for that, like in DV cases, where the state will press charges because they're like, yeah, we don't care, because they've begun to realize, like, a lot of times the victim won't do it for many, many reasons. They don't want to be re-traumatized. They don't want to face this person in court. So the state will do that. My issue isn't, why didn't you go to the police? My issue is, but girl, you knew he was behaving like this and you still maintained a friendship. And I could never. Even if I'm not going to publicly decimate somebody, I'm just not going to maintain a friendship with you. We're done. I'm going to warn you one time. I'm going to be like, hey, I don't know if you know this, that person that you're hitting on is straight and you're being really weird about it. And it seems like you shouldn't do that. And you're going to have to pull it together. Because when you look back at her Bye Tati video, she's talking about like multiple instances where he was inappropriate. And so I'm like, but girl, you hung out with him until it no longer suited you to do so. And this is the problem I have with a lot of these big YouTubers. All of them. Trisha Paytas is notorious for having done this. Is she my problematic fave to watch? Because yes. Let me live my life. Let me be a fully flawed human being that I am. My issue was that you knew about this from day none and you just kept hanging out with him. And then you waited, and then all of a sudden this thing blows up. All of the things that these powerful people have been whispering in your ear or whatever start to escalate. And now you're like, well, you didn't rep my vitamins. My feelings are hurt. After you sat there crying on stories. That's always going to be my issue with it. That's always going to be a problem. I need her to stop acting like the issue is going to the police, because I don't expect everybody to be able to do such a thing. And it's hard to do if you don't have concrete proof. It's hard to do if you don't have pictures, if you don't have the text, if you don't have all the things. It's more difficult. And let's also be very realistic that the internet is a weird place and it's very difficult for police to actually police. They don't even do their jobs anyway. But they can't police interactions between YouTubers and all this. While that's why all these people are still running free. Hot flash. That's why very few of them are in jail. The ones who they like are in prison, it's because what they did is documented back and forth and violates their state's laws. And they were able to get that information. This whole thing, I feel like people don't understand how much of this was hearsay back and forth. And like that is what keeps happening on YouTube platforms and on social media platforms. It just becomes hearsay back and forth. And if there are investigations into it, it's very difficult for them to find that information to actually bring up charges. So we got to relax a little bit on this, like, why aren't they in jail? That's why. You can't arrest people on fucking hearsay. Like, that's not how it works. Unless you're black, in which case, arrest away.
Very clear about that. Looking back, were a lot of things fed to me that I don't know were true. Yeah. You know, if you hear that YouTube executives are going to be deplatforming someone, and you should definitely make sure that you keep your distance because this is happening and it could take you down too. Like, yeah, you're going to like lose a little sleep over that, you know? Gosh. So there was a lot of energy at play, and I can't explain it further than I felt like I had to make that video. Yeah, I had to. And the weirdest thing happened right before I filmed that video. And it was, honestly, it still just makes me go, oh my gosh. So I sat down and, you know, I don't script my videos. So I was just like, I just got to talk to camera. And I have my assistant in the studio with me, and we hear this incredible thud on the glass. And she's like, this is a bad omen. This is a bad idea. Was it a bird? It was a bird. It was a sparrow. And so I go outside and I see this bird, and this bird is like shaking on the ground. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this a sign? Like, what am I doing? And the bird got up and flew away. And
The sign is that your glass was very clean and it had a reflection of the sky, and that's why the bird slammed into it. That's why. That's also why a lot of high risers now have done things to the windows so that they're not as reflective, so that birds aren't fucking slamming into them and dying all the time. That was the sign. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news of what that sign is, but that happens far too often. And it's why they started doing all like the tint and all of this stuff. It's not just to save on energy, it's literally so that the birds can differentiate, because they're fucking birds and they're in the sky. They're not expecting a building to be in their sky. They're birds.
And I remember I looked at James and I'm like, this is going to near kill me, but I have to make this video, but I'll be okay. And so I marched back inside and sat down, and you know, the rest is history.
Wow. 50 million views? That is so insane.
Oh my gosh. Like, so you uploaded the video, and did you go in reading the comments? You decided, okay, I'm not gonna look at it. I'm gonna close my laptop and walk away and do my life.
Yeah.
And yeah. What was the aftermath of the entire? I laid in bed. I love that for you. I could not believe that this happened. Like, I know people.
You came online and destroyed another person. And then you went to bed. I love that for you.
I know people will say, like, you chose to sat down, you did this, like, you had a choice, and I did, and I made that choice. But it did seem like you were, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but it just based on what you're telling me, it seemed like there was some sort of manipulation to you creating it. It felt like that. Yeah. And, you know, it still does.
None of it makes any sense.
Because it's not you. Like, I've been watching your videos for so long. Like, you're not the type to get into drama. Like, you're very family-friendly, wholesome, like, real. And no, I'm just keeping it real, too. Like, real recognizes real. And when that came out, like, I remember thinking, this is not Tati. Like, did something happen? Like,
I hate it when people say real recognizes real, because it doesn't. It doesn't. You know, I just saw a goat smash the store window because it thought it saw another real goat. Real does not recognize real, because if that were true, the goat wouldn't have slammed into that shit. And the goat would have been like, oh, that's not real. And then we'd turn around and see another goat be like, that's real. That's real shit. Weird anecdote, but here we are. Real recognize real. Bitch, you're in a cult.
it just seemed really out of character. The information that I had felt really upsetting. And you know, James Charles referred to me publicly as mom, like, hey mom, like, and like, we're besties. And like, I felt tied to him in this industry. And I wanted to untie that. And I felt like I needed to do it publicly. And I can't make sense of why I felt so deeply. Was there a lot of manipulation at hand? Yeah, tons. And I've kept my mouth shut. And I felt that was the best path for me. And, you know, that first week after, like, YouTube was not happy with me. Like, oh my God, you know, they were not happy with me.
Because that's the way that beauty YouTube works, though. Listen, everyone knows that if someone left this community and truly blew up the spots of people, this whole community is gripped in silence. It is gripped in silence. It's that age-old thing. For every finger you point, there's going to be two fingers pointed back at you. That's really the whole thing. You know, if you say X did this thing or whatever, it'll just be like everybody back and forth. It'll just get real ugly real fast, as we've seen multiple times, most of it revolving around Jeffree Star. But like, there's a sponge of silence. I could have said comb, but you know, this is the beauty community, so beauty sponge. But there's a sponge of silence. There is a beauty blender of silence, and you just don't. That's the nature of it. Because if you really talked about people, why your friendships broke up, why you don't talk to this creator, why you don't use shit from this person, it goes over like a wet fart.
The behind the scenes was rough. I took a little bit of time, like not a significant amount of time, couple weeks to kind of dust myself off. You know, I made that second video kind of being like, wow, guys, this is...
Oh, also, I just need to know, where were you when Bye Sister dropped? Please tell me where you were, because I was in my car on Texas 114. Like, I remember doing like an Instagram story where I was like yelling excitedly, like, yes, Tati, get him, girl. I remember that. Sometimes I get too hype on drama because it's not about me and it's not my business.
This has really gone out of control. Like, I said what I said, but this doesn't mean that people need to go out there and, like, you know, hunt him down and be so nasty. Like, I didn't think it would turn into what it turned into. It was a full-blown circus. So, yeah.
And this is called not thinking through your actions.
For a while, really regretted making that video. What people, I think, don't understand, like, even when I did, I think it was like a year later, because everything had been kicked up again and I was being blamed again for so much. And I'm like, this is making me crazy. Like, I really feel like I need to speak my side. When I made that video, that last video about this situation, I never said, hey, none of these allegations are true. Like, what I regretted was that it blew up into this big circus, that I took things publicly that I should have taken privately, that I should have investigated more thoroughly instead of trusting people that were close to me. I had regrets over all of those things, but I never said, hey, and it was all a lie, and none of it happened. Like, I never did that. And that was the story that then took off, which was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, you can't control. It's like wildfire. You really can't control stuff like that afterwards. You can only speak your truth from that point. And that's what you were trying to do when you were making these other videos to clear it up.
I was trying to clear it up.
Yeah, but then
it didn't get cleared up. It just broke.
Because when you made it public, like you said yourself, like I regret not keeping it private. When you made it public, it just became public domain. Like people remember Sanders Kennedy? Is that his name? When he was like talking about how he was like working with the FBI and weird shit. And we were like, bitch, what? And then people found out that wasn't true. And then he just like left the internet, never came back. Like as far as I'm aware. He was just like, oop, got caught. Whoopsie. Bye. Like that's what I mean when we talk about like the legalities and the police getting involved. When you have somebody like that, Sanders, like acting as if that he has like a direct line to the police and people can contact him to give information to the police, it's muddying the waters. So how is a good investigation supposed to be handled at this point? You have people talking about like they're with the police. Where do they get the information from now? Who's reporting shit to the police at this point? They're reporting to Sanders Kennedy for some reason. That's wild behavior. But like that's what people thought that they were supposed to do. You have to actually have a case. You have to have a case that has evidence that you can use. And it has to be legally obtained evidence. You can't just throw things together and throw things at a wall and see what sticks. I hate the way that they always talk about it, like in passing, like, yeah, should I have done this thing? Like, yeah, but like at the time, it just felt like, and I just feel like you're still saying nothing. Just admit the reality, which is I allowed my own negative feelings about how I was treated when it came to my brand of Tanya vitamins. I was upset and I allowed my emotion over that to cloud my judgment to the point where anything anyone said that was negative about James, I would listen to because I was hurt. And so I dropped by Sister. In hindsight, bad move. Not just because YouTube got mad, but because I allowed my emotion to overshadow my logic. I didn't take the time to consider things because that's what emotions do to all of us. Emotions make a lot of us fools, which is why I try to put mine elsewhere, which isn't all helpful either. Putting them in a box isn't great because then you're just watching somebody do like a dance on TikTok and you start sobbing uncontrollably. Emotions are weird.
It just brought on more. So it kind of gets to a point where it's like, well, should you ever speak your truth? And that gets really tricky because now I'm in a place where I want to speak as much truth as I can, but let go of the outcome and let go of what people say. And if people are like, wow, you are crazy, I'm like, well, good thing you're not living with me. Like if you feel that way, like I'm in my skin, I'm in my life and I need to focus on that. So accept me or don't. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. So interesting because I feel like sometimes being a public figure, you're putting yourself out there and everyone, you can give someone the same book. If you read it and I read it, we have two different experiences. And oftentimes that's how it is. There's always another side to the story.
Not sometimes, Michelle. Being a public figure, you are putting yourself out there. It's not sometimes. It's all the time. You are putting yourself out. I'm putting myself out here. I just wanted to correct that because it's a weird statement to make.
Story. But sometimes you have to kind of accept that. You might be a villain in someone else's story, and you can't change that. You can't.
Oh, I'm definitely a villain. I do not care.
The narrative to change for you. You have to detach from that if you want to live a life where you have sanity. Yeah. So sure. Yeah, like honestly, thank you for sharing that. And I know that I just knew when all of this was happening that my intuition, because I lean into my intuition a lot. My intuition was telling me, I don't know, this is not Tati, but I was so impressed with how you gracefully moved through this entire thing because I've never gone through anything like that. I've gone through a lot, but not like a public. Like having friendship like that and just publicly breaking up with your friends like that publicly, I've never gone through anything like that. So I commend your bravery on that.
Thank you.
Honestly, like, wow.
Thank you. It's been wild. I've learned a lot, and I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I handled everything perfectly, but there was a point where I was like, I've got to let go.
I think I figured it out. Michelle makes a lot of statements that don't enter into a question territory. So when you're the guest, you're not sure when you're supposed to answer. I think that's the problem. Like you don't know if she's asking you something. Is it, should I say something? I feel like Tati just needs to be able to like sit. Tanya needs somebody to ask her direct questions to try to get a direct answer. Like there are podcasts where I feel like it's two friends just chilling, whether they're friends or not, it feels like that. Even with the guests, I feel like it's people who are excited, but yeah, that's it, Em. Perhaps she's just talking about herself instead of seeking information from her guests. Yeah, I feel like this would be a more interesting interview if Tanya had like real, like actual direct questions, like make Tanya feel comfortable, obviously. Tati. I'm not being like rude or shitty. I'm a they, them. So I need to stop being a dick. Tati is her name. Don't be an asshole, Audra, even though you want to. Assholery is your religion and you need to calm down. But I feel like what Tati really needs is somebody who's like asking her direct questions, like make her feel comfortable, ask her direct questions, get answers without being a bitch about it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is not giving her the platform to really be able to talk about this stuff because people want answers. We want to know what happened, but I don't feel like this is the space that's giving it to her. We still have 30 more minutes. Maybe it'll arrive. I feel like the answer's no.
It feels so much better to be in that space now where I'm not so micromanaging it. Like it's been 5 years since that.
We're not letting it go.
It feels like a lifetime ago. Do I feel like people still have a lot of that situation wrong? Yeah, absolutely. But I also know that I'm not here to create more damage. And I think that some things are better handled in real life. And I think that's the one thing that I wish I would have done is not bow to so much fear.
I like that.
And handle things in real life. Because I was worried for my career. I was kind of in a bad place any which way you spin it, you know?
How are you able to continue creating after going through so many like episodes of I don't want to call it setbacks, but just challenges like this conflict? Because you seem like a very peaceful, you want to make sure everyone's chill, everyone's good, you want to just focus on you and work on yourself. Yeah, people want to come into your life and they want to be your friends. They want to, unfortunately, sometimes use you as a ladder. Like, how are you still able to find strength to just continue creating? Because I know how hard it is when you're creating out of a deficit. It's almost impossible too, but I just was so...
The strength she found, you have to be able to pay for your home. This is her job. That was the strength. And I'm not saying that to be funny or mean or dismissive. I'm saying that a lot of content creators, whenever these things happen, whether it be Raw Beauty Christie, whether it be Cody Ko, any of those people, the strength that they find is that this is their job. They don't have another job. They don't have something else that they can just do. Like this is their job. So Tati had to get the fuck up and get back to work. There's only so much that the residuals are going to make because at some point that may slow down. There are certain videos of hers that will probably always like regularly make big money, but there's like other things that are not going to do that. She has to get up. This is her job. If she still had Tati Beauty around, fine. But even that got sucked out from underneath her. This is her job. That was the strength. Like I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm not trying to be dismissive of what it is that she's trying to do, but I'm just saying it's her job. She has to get up and go do that and make money or they won't have any stuff because as far as I'm aware, what the fuck does James do? I don't know. I don't care. A man? But in all seriousness, I feel like that was the strength that she had. And I think you're right, Em, that she wanted a safe space to talk in. I would still make the space safe, but I would also just be like, I want a direct answer. Thing one, why didn't you respond to James? Why didn't you call him back? And like, that's what I'd want to know. Like, again, my sister could have not happened. This is YouTube internet history at this point. Like, so it could have just not happened had you just picked up the phone. Why didn't you pick up the phone? I know she didn't want to answer those questions. That's the point. But I just feel like that's the thing that people want. This thing has a lot of views because people were hoping Tati would answer something. Instead, it's like this wild, bad, softball, bullshit ass, woo-woo ass interview that is not conducive. I feel like it's not doing anything. Like it's doing some things. We are getting some really good sound bites from Tati. I do like those.
Blown away by your perseverance. Like you were still going and going and going. And I'd love to learn how you were able to, like, what did you do during that time and who was there to help you?
You know, after that second video, I'd already been through a lot. Like I'd already been through the drama wheel. I felt like I needed a little bit of time. But I love making videos. So I kind of always feel like, you know, whatever happens, I'm gonna get back to playing with makeup and making videos. And I'm kind of on my own island and I don't want to say I don't need community, but it's like, if I have to be alone for a time, okay, like I'm fine with that. I can create. And so I was gonna just hop back into beauty videos after that last, what was the title of it? It was like Breaking My Silence or something like that. And I had, you know, James around me. We actually had planned on moving to Hawaii. My audience doesn't know that either. We had put an offer in on a home in Lahaina. James's mom lived in Hawaii before she passed, so we spent a lot of time there. We got married also. Yeah. And I was setting up a new studio, like had my stuff ready to go back to filming. So it's kind of funny. You're like, how did you persevere? And it's like, really, I'm just putting one foot in front of the other. Like, if anything, that's a great takeaway from going through rehab and walking a sober life is to really take things a day at a time. Yeah, I just focus on the day and evaluate what went wrong, where can I do better, how can I be more resilient and strengthen myself. Don't look at everything that's going on because that will make you crazy.
And I agree with that. I think when people get into these like internet kerfluffles, the only thing that they can do is keep moving. Once it's out, there's no control. It's like it's a tornado or a hurricane or whatever natural disaster is by you. But once these things happen, it's like it's outside of your control at that point. Moving forward, as they like to say, you can't control the narrative anymore. The narrative is outside of you. Like every video that people put out, and video essayists will definitely tell you this, once it's out, like the narrative is no longer controlled by you. You can say all the things, but people can still interpret it however they want to. That's how media works. Because I'm sure there are other people who watch this and had a completely different interpretation than I have. That's how it works. We're all human beings. We're all people. We all come from whatever biased place that we come from. You have to just get up, do the thing, and keep going, because you have your diehard fans. You have your core audience. They're going to watch regardless. They're going to be on your side regardless, as we've seen with Dr. Disrespect, as we've seen with Raw Beauty Christie, as we've seen with a lot of these creators. They're always going to have their core audience that's going to be there regardless of what's happened. So like once you know that's why cancellation doesn't work the way people think that it does.
So I did a lot of that, and I was ready to kind of get back to YouTube. And then it's like, but wait, there's more. And then the minority partner in Halo Beauty, Clark Swanson, sent a demand letter threatening to file a lawsuit if we didn't give him $30 million, a third of Tati Beauty. What else does she want? $30 million. No, there's more. There's Tati Beauty and all of Halo Beauty. So it's like, give me this, or I'm gonna file a lawsuit.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't have $30 million. Like, I mean, lawsuits are kind of funny like that, you know, like it. So it was pretty major. That kind of took me out emotionally more than any of the other drama. Like that was big. He was a friend of ours.
Which to this day I think was so freaking weird, because he wasn't gonna be able to get Halo Beauty to work without Tati. So I don't know what the fuck bro was on, but it was like, dude, you're not gonna be able to get it to work without her. And now look, you're sitting there with egg on your face like an idiot. You didn't make it. Like it didn't work out. Like you did all this shit. And now Halo Beauty is no more.
This was going to be public, and it is public and nasty, and it has become nasty. And that was the real reason that I had to stay offline for the time that I did. That hiatus of, it was like 10 months. Yeah, that was gone. Sienna, Tatu, yeah. Girl, I'm stronger than ever. You are, I know. You're just really like trial by fire, like steel. You're just folding and folding and becoming stronger and stronger. But I mean, like, who was there for you? Like, besides James, of course. James wasn't there the whole time because we broke up for a brief time. We were headed to a divorce. I mean, if you can imagine, that was a close friend of his. And
yeah,
it's
I
like
had a divorce his ass
person
too.
who's your friend is creating this drama in our life and trying
to
take things that I've built, and it was really tough. So there was a time, long story short, we didn't close on the house in Lahaina. We left Hawaii, and James and I split for a time, and my family's still in Washington, so I stayed up there. He was out of the picture for a time, and this was still during pretty significant restrictions with COVID. So there was like 3 months where I didn't see anyone. I was literally alone, you know, no James, no family, no friends, alone, no YouTube, dealing with this crazy catastrophe. It was wild. I'm so sorry.
That's why I keep telling people, like, if you want to be a content creator, I'm going to need you to get content creator friends, like actual friends. Usually it's best if you try to find people around your same size of channel and whatnot. I just say that because it kind of alleviates some of that weird competition feeling. You're trying to lift each other up. You're sharing knowledge back and forth with one another. You're happy for their wins. They're happy for your wins. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Some people are social climbing assholes and leave you anyway. But still, you do need friends in this arena, because when things happen, because they will, it doesn't have to be on that level. It doesn't have to be on like a national scale of embarrassment and humiliation, but you have people to rely on. Like I have friends right now that are in this chat that I talk to outside of doing content. We talk about all kinds of stuff. We talk about love lives, relationships, what we're doing at work, finding a job, having a job. Some of us work together. So we have this network where when something happens or something gets too stressful or whatever, we have people to lean on. And I've always been very critical of Tati. I will continue to do so. But one thing I will always say is that I feel like her major downfall was that she very consistently stayed on her own island and didn't practice practice, from what I can tell. Obviously, I don't know her personally, so don't come in these comments acting wild, being like, you don't know Tati. Blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about from what I could see. She kept herself on her own island. So when these friendships started to arise, it felt very much like, oh my gosh, like I have friends. Oh my gosh, I just did a good Tati. Oh my gosh, I have friends and I have people that I can rely on in this. Unfortunately, she got in bed with a lot of snakes. And she should have paid more attention to that and paid more attention to the shit happening. Because, like, yes, do we need to practice discernment about rumors? Obviously, yes. We do need to practice some discernment, but there's also a level of me recognizing, like, aside from the fact that it would be life-changing money, there would be like no reason for me to be hanging out with Jeffree Star with all the stuff that's out on the internet right now. There would be no reason for me to be like, well, no, I just think that like maybe he's better. And like, that was obviously a ginormous thing that she overlooked. I completely overlooked it. And I think it's easy to overlook because you've been on your own island and now you're being accepted into this group of people where before you weren't. You were just on your little Tati island, living your Tati life, making your 5 videos a week and going forward. So you were involved with the worst of people. You didn't practice discernment. You paid zero attention to the things that people were saying because you were very much like, well, I don't want to listen to what people say. I do. I listen to what people say. I'm not an idiot. Because there's always a little bit of truth, a nugget of truth in what people are saying about somebody. And I keep that in mind, right? It doesn't mean that I like go into this friendship and say, I'm not going to listen to people, but I am going to keep that back there so that when you do while out, if you should, I'm like, okay, well, I should have expected that. And that is why I somewhat assume she may have pursued James or Jeffree because of that loneliness. And see, I thought it was the opposite. I think that they pursued her because she's perfect for being able to elevate your profile. Like if you are a creator of her size, if you're Jeffree Star, you're going to seek out someone like Tati because Tati has a relatively clean record. Like she's had little things here or there that weren't great. We're not gonna pretend that they were, but it wasn't enough. She's continued to maintain like very squeaky clean, big sister mom vibe, and people trusted her. Very few people were still trusting Jeffree Star. Like, were they watching him for the drama? Yes, because that's what it became. A lot of people, even to his defense, were there because of the drama. They were there because Jeffree was going to make waves and that was going to be a good time for them. Me included. Like, I love watching I like watching mess. I'm not gonna lie. Sue me. Don't. You'll get a penny. It was in his best interest to befriend Tati because his other friend group was on the verge of exploding at this point in time, and he knew that. So then that explodes. Jeffree Star's thing was always glomming onto someone new that could help refurbish his brand from being like a mean ass bitch. Tati was perfect for him to grab onto to do that, right? Very easy because she obviously doesn't practice discernment. Not like she's some innocent person. I think she's actually very smart and business minded because otherwise she wouldn't have had 2 businesses to make it as far as they did. She wouldn't have had Tati Beauty going forward. She wouldn't have had Hala Beauty. Like those things would not exist if she didn't have business sense and some intelligence. I think she looked at it as a positive for her as well, and that she could be seen as reforming Jeffree Star, and that would help her brand, her actual brand of Tati, and also her like brands. And so she took this risk. It didn't go well. That's why you can't make a risk with these kinds of people, my opinion.
That's truly the darkest point of my life. Out of all of the wild that I've been through, that segment of time was the darkest, but I also grew the most. I became so reinforced, self-reliant. I knew that I could survive in this world without anyone, that I would actually be okay, that I know how to take care of myself. And so a really interesting resilience was built during that time, and a lot of healing, a lot of deepening with my faith, a lot of conversations with God, and just a lot of stillness. Like that time, I unplugged everything. Like I could not watch TV, listen to music, interact on social. Like I really took my time to kind of still.
I mean, I do think it's good for us to be able to rely on ourselves, but that is a response that a lot of us have to traumatic events, which is to isolate and rely only on oneself, which is not necessarily a good thing. It's good on one hand, but on the other hand, it does make it so that nobody can help you. No one can do nice things for you. Obviously, I'm just saying that. I'm not diagnosing Tati. I'm obviously not a therapist or a doctor of any form, because if I were, I would, definitely be doing much better right now financially. But You know, that response is one many of us have. You get burned in life, so you just learn to rely on only yourself. But again, that gets us very, very much in a space where it's difficult to trust other people to ever be kind and actually help you. And then you won't allow anyone to help you ever. So you're just doing things all by yourself, and then you're mad that nobody's helping you, but you're also not giving space for people to help you. So it's like, it's a conundrum. She was out here going to bat for him, talking about the Jeffree she knew when she didn't know shit exactly. I feel like, especially with somebody like Jeffree Star, for her to keep being like, that's not the Jeffree I know. I'm like, but babes, the Jeffree that everybody knows is out here on the internet every day. So I think you need to try to reconcile both of those characters to create your vision of him, and you did not do that.
I was showing up still for what I was responsible for, of course, in regards with Halo Beauty. Like, that was still alive and well, but I was off YouTube.
And that's a machine. Yeah, that YouTube is a machine. People don't realize it. That it is already being a YouTuber is a full-time job. And then you have Halo and you had all these other things. And to stop that, it must have given you so much time to go through this healing process.
Yeah, for sure. So it was good in a way. I always tell people it was like 50% beautiful, magnificent. Like, thank you, God, for that time. Thank you for, you know, like literally praise him in the storm, like, because it was a storm. And, you know, like I feel this intense gratitude, but it was also horrifying. Like 50% amazing, 50% horrifying, deep betrayal from a friend. And I had this feeling that he was feeding information to drama channels, and I had to go through separate litigation to really uncover where a particular leak was happening, where information about the company and about myself was getting in the hands of people where it didn't make sense. I'm like, where is this leak coming from? This feels like a real rich public humiliation. Like, I have to find out what's going on before I can even think of going back to YouTube. So that was really the cause of my time off.
And I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier when I said now Halo Beauty's no more. I meant Tati Beauty. I apologize.
It was just you. She doesn't have a publicist. I don't have a manager. I don't have an agent. I'm just doing Gabbie on my own. That's incredible. You inspire me, Tati, honestly. Thank you. Honestly, wow. Thank you. It's not over yet. I'm going to be on trial in August. I'll be there for you to support you. But I know what it's like being in trial with them.
I hope she wins that, if she hasn't already, because it's only September now. Because that's like really fucked up. It doesn't matter what stake he had, like whatever it was, because Halo Beauty without Tati, it's going to crash and burn. I say that because like influencer brands in general rely on the influencer to be a part of the brand. So unless he's also suing for and putting in this lawsuit that Tati has to remain, what does he gain out of this aside from the monetary value? Like obviously like that's what he wants, but what does he gain? Because the company's going to crash and burn without her there, which is why she shut down Tati Beauty. She's like, no, shut that down with a quickness. Like, what are you gaining out of this? Like, I think it's dumb. Obviously, I don't know all the particulars of the lawsuit because I do not have the attention span. I remember watching videos on it back in the day and I was just like, I'm bored. And I left.
And I'm learning now more than ever, like from the mistakes that I've made, dating back to my early 20s. Like, I've learned so much. And I think the biggest like spiritual awakening, if you will, like the number one thing that happened to me during that time out was radical accountability and an intense, like non-negotiable desire to be truthful. Even if it hurt people, even if it put me in a disadvantage, and I'm talking like white lies. Like my inner monologue changed. And like if I was even bullying myself, I'd be like, but is this true? Yeah. Like, is this real? No. And I'd start holding myself accountable. Like my brain changed during this particular season. And so whatever's happening for anyone, whatever bad thing is happening, there's always something good. Silver lining.
No.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
I think the perspective has to be like, instead of seeing the bad.
Don't start that. If instead of seeing the bad, look at the good shit, because that's not how that works.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Also, for my depressive babes, if you managed to brush your teeth today, good for you. If you didn't, that's okay. You'll do it when you can. If you've managed to take a shower, congratulations. If you didn't, that's okay too. You'll do it when you can, all right? If you've managed to feed yourself, good. If you haven't, I need you to get up and grab something, whatever it is. Just put like 3 chips in your mouth. I just need you to take care of yourself. But it doesn't work like that. But I'm a person who dislikes the idea that our awful traumatic events are learning experiences for us to grow and become better, because no!
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Can't I just learn things without awfulness? Thank you. I would like to have a successful relationship that does not rely on the fact that I went through hell. Like, I don't like that. I don't like the idea that I had to experience tons and tons of traumatic events to like not trust a lot of people. I don't like it. I don't feel like it works in the sense of like, well, the bad things are why I'm here and like that. I don't like it because I'm just like, or we can try for a world that doesn't rely on awful shit having to happen to you for you to be happy. Because I don't feel like a ton of good came from all of this. Now Tati is on TikTok doing QVC sales. Like, that's not the Tati that we knew. I know that social media has changed, etc., etc. Views for beauty content are way the fuck down, but like, it wasn't a net positive because it completely destroyed the beauty community. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was the final boss. That was the thing that crushed all things. Good luck if you're creating beauty content and you're hoping to make money off of it. Good luck to you.
You have to see the opportunity to change, because you can't change when everything is nice. When everything is great, it's kind of hard to change. Hey, let's go shopping. Exactly.
That's not
But
true.
when things are not going according to plan, and when you're going through your flop era, whatever you want to call it, I really believe, one, it humbles you, and two, it's an invitation to change, because
I would actually say that I improve best when things are going well, because I'm not stressed out and depressed. For me personally, when things are going well and stay on an upward swing for a while, it helps my mental health. So I'm able to produce a better life for myself. I'm able to see better ways through things. I'm able to work my way through problems. But when everything's stressful and trash and awful, like, it's hard for me to find solutions for anything, because I can only focus on all the awfulness that is sucking my soul out of my life. But that's me, right? Everybody doesn't work like that. I don't function as well when things are all bad. Those are also usually the times when I'm most likely to engage in unaliving ideation and consider what methods with which to end the things, because it's just going so bad and I can't find a way through. When things are going well, I don't have all of that kicking my ass, so I'm actually able to see the picture, right? When I got the idea to be like, okay, I can actually create content on YouTube via Twitch because I'm more comfortable on Twitch now, and started being like, oh, maybe I need an editor. All of that was happening when I was going through better times. None of those ideas came to me while I was having the worst time. In fact, when I was having the worst time, I was just like, I can't make shit for YouTube. I'm terrible at doing this. Everything sucks. I can't do anything right. I'm never going to be able to create content again. I tried to film things that went bad. I just beat myself into the ground because, like, work was stressful. I was having a hard time with a lot of different things in my life at that time. I was just suffering. That wasn't the time for me to be creative. Being autistic with ADHD as well, it could be that. I just get stuck in a negative loop. I can't react positively to any of that. I'm just like, no, there's no silver lining. It's just all trash. Your flop era humbles you. Some people don't need to be humbled. Life has been humbling them constantly, 100%. Like, no, I don't feel like that for me. That's the positive people who say that, like, you don't have good things when everything's great. You know, you don't have to work through things. I'm like, no, that's actually when I work through things the best. When it's terrible, I just, please stab me in the eye or in my heart. Thanks.
because it is the unknown. It's something you didn't plan for. No one plans to fail, honestly. Everyone plans to succeed. Everyone has a plan of this and that. And I think when it doesn't happen, and I think what's interesting is that you were alone. And I believe when you are alone like that, you don't have your support or anything. It's an ego death. Like, you went through another ego death. How many times have I died at this? I don't know. Like, they get like pretty wild. 4.
I swear to God, if people don't start, please. I know you learned a new term. Let's stop using it. I hate ego death. Because now it's just everywhere. I can't escape it. I suffered an ego death. Oh! And it's not just them. It's like everybody. Everybody's saying it. People are saying it on TikTok. It's just everywhere. First of all, my ego will never die. It is too big for even this room. But second of all, can we just stop using that? Please, I just want us to stop using therapy speak. It's become enough. Let us be free. Therapy TikTok, therapy talk, therapy YouTube. I need all y'all to stop. Just stop giving us these terms. It's going bad. The beer has gone bad.
I will say this, something that's really beautiful and felt totally supernatural to me during this time. And this is like a big, like I admit through my sobriety walk, like there's been temptation and that escape being like right there and so socially acceptable. Like, I would kind of get a little bit bitter and be like, it must be nice. Like, I can't do that, but it sure looks good. And there would be just this kind of struggle that would come in and out, and of course would be exaggerated if I was going through any trauma. Like, anyone that's dealt with addiction knows that you go through some major life crisis and you feel like you have this big excuse of like, I'm just going to go grab that bottle and I'm going to numb this pain. And something that happened during this time where I was away from James and everyone, and kind of in that 3 months period where I was trying to figure out what was going on with this litigation, I had such intense prayer time. You could call it meditation, you could call it whatever you want, but just this connection with my creator. And what was lifted off of me felt so permanent. I had no desire to drink or use. And this is in like the most painful chapter of my life. Wow. Right?
That's
like,
good.
I'm literally talking to divorce attorneys. Like everything's on its head. Everything I built, like the finish line was like right there. We're going to live in a beautiful home in Hawaii. I'm going to make videos. We're going to escape the drama. We're going to start a family because I've wanted to be alone forever. And that's, you know, really tough that didn't happen. But I lost everything overnight, it felt. But there was this presence with me that alleviated a lot of the pain that had still somehow been clinging on. So I had this beautiful, I don't know if you call it a release, but undoing of something that had kind of been around my ankle my whole life. And that's something really cool to come through as well, to be like, hey, like, check the box. I did that. I went through this horrific time and I stayed sober. And I'm really proud of that. Yeah.
And I'm proud of her too. I think whatever it is that you believe in, when you can make it through the other side of horrific things and make it through without relying on potentially harmful substances. If you are a sober person, if you are not a sober person, you just recreationally enjoy a drink or whatever, but now when in your darkest of times, you are trying to numb the pain and instead you feel the pain and you move through it and you just move forward and you make it through. Hats off to you. Whatever you have to do to like get through that, hats off. Cause like that shit is hard. A lot of us have varying awakenings in whatever way that we can. Like for me, the best thing that ever happened to me was like after celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary, we get back from this dinner that was very awkward and awful. And I was just like looking across the table, like, I hate you so much. Like everything you're doing is like making me pissed off. And he's just like, I think maybe we should get divorced. For those of you who don't know, it was very much a technique because he was very surprised that we were actually going to get divorced. Cause I looked at him and was like, yeah, maybe we should. Because by this point, I was no longer interested in continuing in this life that was making me miserable. I was a downtrodden shell of myself, and I was tired of being that person to make somebody else happy. And so to get through that, I feel like the most clarity I had in my life when I moved out and I could breathe, like physically breathe, not just like mentally, not just emotionally, like physically, I could breathe. And it no longer felt like I was walking on eggshells. And once that happened, I was like, all right, I can kind of do anything. I can do whatever I want. I don't have this stress anymore. It wasn't necessarily like a higher power for me. It was just like me recognizing like I should have done this sooner, but like also just like, this is a good feeling. This is the best I have felt in like 12 years. So I was like, I'm not giving that up. Still not going to give it up. So I'm really proud of her that she stayed sober through that, because that shit's hard. It would have been really easy for her to not do that, because if you've never been on or been friends with anybody who's experienced like an internet horror, like an internet attack, the shit is wild. It is unending. I promise you, even to this day, there are people probably still making comments about this situation to her. Whether she's blocked it or not, it's up to her. It's her space. She can do what she wants. But when these things happen, it feels awful. Like people just won't let it go. You can't move forward. And for her to have made it through all of this sober, do you, girl?
You went through the 40 days, 40 nights of the darkness. You were tested. You were definitely tested. That's what it felt like to me. I think I'm so blown away by your strength, honestly. Like that, to me, it's testimony of resilience, and also you letting go of these energy attachments that were holding you down.
Energy
what it feels
attachments.
Like.
That's cool.
Because like, if I were to put myself in your shoes, I would for sure cave. Like knowing that, like, and there's been times even on my end, like I was done. I was done with everything. And it's so crazy when you are at the lowest point. In my experience, this is where God comes in. Oh, in a strange way, like, okay, then maybe I'll stay, because maybe it seems like there's purpose for me here.
Not my
and
cup of
it's so
tea,
personal.
but
Like some
go
people
on.
might not believe it because it is so personal. Yeah. Like only you can experience that presence. Yeah. And it seems like you had a presence like that.
There was some, I mean, I've kind of alluded to this a little bit on my channel, but there was some wild stuff going on. Like we're talking paranormal activity and like, what the heck is happening? It was definitely, there's a heavy charge. It was a really intense period of time, and really opened myself up to pursuing God and pursuing a deeper meaning in life and trying to understand truly what it means to go inward. You know, the idea that the kingdom is within. I think that's real. It is. I think that's where we find what already exists.
This part isn't for me because I'm not religious like that. So if you are religious, let me know how this hits for you. It's not my cup of tea. So excuse my facial expressions as we get through the powerful awakening.
You vibe with this or not? Like, this is something I've been talking about recently, and a lot of my friends are like, what? Like, you're being so weird again. Like, oh my gosh. But I always think that we have all these amazing feelings, creativity, like beautiful things living within us. And sometimes it's an experience, sometimes it's a person that brings these emotions out. But it's really cool to step back and be like, but that person isn't experiencing the same beautiful emotion that you are. It already was built in you. It's already there. So if you can remember that when you're freaking out and you're going
What?
through something terrible, you're like, I don't know how to be still. I don't know how to do this. Yes, you do. Those feelings already live inside you. That feeling of love.
Some of us have
whether it's for a family
ADHD,
member
Tati.
or a new romance, like that beautiful feeling of love, that's your feeling. Like it's already built in you. Like learn to access it by setting some things that you might be attached to down.
Yep.
And you can flow with that feeling. And that has helped me so much.
What?
Like I feel a kind of strength that I never knew was possible. And it's
Okay.
really great. And I haven't stopped the journey. Like I'm continuing to pursue, you know, if we want to like throw the Bible in the mix, you know, God says, seek me and you'll find. Oh yeah. And I'm seeking. And it might not look the same as a lot of people.
Yeah, I did seek, and I just found a lot of DV and SA. Maybe I didn't ask loud enough. I don't know, but like it wasn't for me. I'm trying. I'm sorry to any, like I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This wasn't, it's not for me. I promise you that the DV and the SA did not make me a stronger person. It didn't. I'm not stronger because of those things. Angrier, less trusting, yes. Stronger, no.
Would want it to, as far as what religion looks like sometimes, because I don't align with everything, but I align with seeking, and that has brought me a lot. It's so personal. The spiritual journey is so personal. It's not a one size fits all. I mean, I clearly see it with so many different religions, but I think the destination is the same place. We all go back to source, which is love. It's just pure love, this energy, this intelligent, beautiful, creative energy that is within all of us. And sadly, I think the world that we live in today, it blocks our access to this love. You know, the society tells women to compete against each other, and like the world that we live, this matrix world that we live in. But I feel like these are all tests, you know, like if it was so easy, then everyone would become enlightened. But there's a reason why we're here. Yeah. There's a reason why we're being tested like this. And I think having
we're
your platform
forced
and
to be
sharing
born.
this is so powerful, because I believe a lot of people who watch us and our viewers, they are going through the same exact thing, which is a different version of it.
These themes exist in so many of our stories.
Yeah, whatever we do for a job. And, you know, I've had to overcome them publicly, so have you. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, this is amazing. This is going to inspire so many people, because I really do believe a lot of people think we have our shit together. And then they're like, oh my gosh, they're just like me, but they just have money.
I do like that the idea of like, it is helpful that they can talk about these things in circles so that people can get some encouragement that sometimes maybe the worst thing doesn't make you stronger, but that you can live through it. But I don't like the culty vibe of it. It feels very much like they're about to start putting weird ass rocks around it, and I'm not a hot rock walker. I don't see the point in that. I'm good. I don't want to do any of those things. I just want to be able to live in a world that isn't a capitalist hellscape that we're all trying to escape from by figuring out ways to capitalize better so that we can survive. That's all. Like the competitiveness, like yes, the world keeps trying to tell people, women and femmes, to be competitive with one another, but in the end, it's up to you on whether or not you buy into that and you feel that you are competing. If you feel that you are competing, you either do like kind of people like me do. I took myself out of the game so that I don't feel that weird competitive nature, and I'm not allowing myself to behave like that to the point where I'm losing friends and whatnot because I feel like this entire thing is a competition. And I can actually enjoy my friends' makeup content and enjoy their wins and not feel jealous and green with envy when things are happening for other creators that like really aren't even my friends. They're just people within the space. It is up to us to like grow up emotionally, grow up, mentally grow up to understand that like people don't have to be your competition. I know that that's what most of capitalism tries to force us to feel, that capitalism and competition breeds innovation. I think that it just breeds bitterness and anger for most of us because in the end you don't actually capitalize.
And I'm being inspired more to show my shame. Like I want to share, like, you know, I want to, because I don't have it together. I struggle a lot with myself and my own ego. I don't think I should kill my ego. I think there's a reason why we're meant to have an ego. The ego is the very thing that gets you to move away from the ledge. You know, there's a reason why we're here in this matrix world. It's not just there's meaning in everything.
Did you just say matrix world? Bitch.
And I think it's so incredible. And I feel like there's this new era for Tati. Like this, you know, we know about the outer beauty, but then there seems like there's this inner beauty era, right? That I would love to see more of.
I need girlfriend to finish one thought. And this is coming from an ADHD person, but I really need her to finish a thought. Because she'll start to, you know, and I just went through like, and I just really feel like, I'm like, I have ADHD. I just need you to finish one of these thoughts though, because like, I'm actually interested where you were going with it and now it's gone. And now I have ADHD. I forgot what you were saying. So like, Okay.
I'll always love beauty. I'll always love that part. That's always going to be part of my identity. But there's so much more that I want to explore in the spiritual consciousness space. And this is something that I want to talk more about on my channel.
that. It's interesting. It is. And I think a lot of people are interested in it.
Yeah. So we've gone through this crazy hero's journey. We're not done with it yet. You're not done with it yet. Done. But I just know that there is you coming back home, changed and transformed. That's on the horizon. I'm so curious as to like, as you're going through your moment of slaying the dragon and everything, because you're still making content. I saw the Tati list, and I would love to know more about like, what is Tati list? Is she coming back with something new and exciting?
The Tati list. This is something I wanted to do for a while. I just didn't know how to, and technology wasn't up to speed, and now it is. So I have, this is going to be a little like techie for a moment, but I got a short code to be able to reach my audience through SMS. And that takes time. It's nothing that you flip a switch overnight. So that was a whole, how do we do this? How can I connect with my audience?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because she's like, this is going to get techie. It's literally text messages. I'm sorry. It's text messages. It's being able to text people. You get them to give you the number. You could text them your favorite shit, and then they can click the links and buy the shit. Like, come on.
Yeah, without relying on any one platform. Like if all of it fell away, could I still connect with my audience? Let me figure out how to do that so that I can do this forever. So figured out how to do it, and we've been building this, and I want it to be many different things, not just one thing. I want to do meetups. I want to do events. I am going to be sending, mass gifting out to select winners.
My favorite thing is when white women just think that they discovered something, white creators especially. It's so funny to me. They're like, I'm just trying to do this thing. Meanwhile, I don't know if you know this, but Kimberly Foster has had something similar for a long time. And also it's called Patreon. There's multiple avenues with which to do such a thing where you could have meetups and all of this kind of things. Kimberly Foster has like women's groups and all these kinds of things that she does. Like when they discovered moisturizer. Yeah, it's just wild. I'm just trying to like figure out how to like have more than this. I don't mean to be an asshole. It's just like, I feel like if these white creators would literally just have like one black creator friend for real, they would already know how to do this because we have to. Again, I'm not saying it to like make people be all divisive and be like, you're always talking about you're black. I know, because I'm black. But the thing is, black creators and creators of color who are visibly different looking than white people already have to have these other avenues and these other streams because of the fact that we're aware that we will generally always get less. And so we have to have other avenues to keep our shit running because otherwise it won't. Otherwise it won't happen for us. We won't have like a space for this to be because it'll be gone. It's just cute. It's just cute as all. She's like, I just discovered the internet. I'm sorry. Okay, girl, go off.
And it's going to be a pretty robust, I guess you could call it a club.
Yeah.
Could you?
It
it's the
is.
Tati list. It's just a place for all of my audience to participate in many different cool things. And as we grow, maybe I do build out a separate space. I've had an app in the past, and that was really fun. But again, I don't think the technology was advanced enough at the time. But
What does she mean?
I mean, there's so much on the horizon with like AI. Like what I'm seeing in the coding spaces, you can build an app just using AI alone. So give it a year or two.
You shouldn't.
You might just be able to build a crazy super app on your own. Maybe. Honestly. Maybe. Well, knowing you were learning how to like edit and everything along the way.
That's if you're inspired by something, I say always explore it at minimum. And if you're good at it, then that's the sign to, pursue it and do the work.
And I'm just here to say, like, I don't hate all forms of AI because I do think that there is a part of it that's useful. I hate the part that's stealing. I hate the part that's stealing. I hate the part that's learning the content that we're putting out as we speak and like trying to put it out without us so it doesn't pay us. I hate the part that's trying to make human beings and human workers obsolete, which is so weird to me because capitalism doesn't capitalize without people to like buy your shit. And if we can't buy your crap, then like it doesn't work. So like that's just my opinion. But like, there are useful formats of it. Okay.
But right now we're having fun with giveaways and doing things in real life and just having that better connection with my audience. And it's free to join, doesn't cost anybody anything, and it's just a better way to connect the community.
Do you feel like you can be more authentic
Tati.
in yourself?
No.
This is the goal, right? This is the goal. I'm like, I want to be unrestricted. I want to say what I want to say.
Hi, it's me. My name is Audra, and this is your unsolicited advice from a random black stranger that you're probably never going to know. You need to put money on that, girlie, even if it's $1. All right? I'm going to need you to charge people $1. Not because I'm a jerk, not because I live in capitalism, but because if you two kind of you have people paying $1, and if it's like 1,000 people, then that's $1,000, right? This is your business. Need you to put a little respect on your own name, darling. Don't be Tati listing for free. And you need to do that now, because when you're ready to charge, people aren't going to like that. They're not going to like that, as is shown by Twitter. The only thing that we dead name in this house. Because as soon as it became, you have to pay to play, a lot of people don't really Twitter the way that they used to Twitter. And the people who are paying to play are people that most of us are trying to block at every turn. We're like, block, block. I'm not going to help you with your engagement farming so that you make money. Just saying that as a thing.
I'm always going to be team YouTube. I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I had to make my career what it has become. Like without YouTube, I wouldn't have this. So I'm always going to be like, thank you so much, YouTube. But there have been limitations, and limiting access with audience is a concern.
You need to do that.
It's changing. It is. So. Yeah, it's definitely changing. And I love that you're just taking it into your own hands. And I think it's going to be exciting.
One more time, Tati. I'm so sorry. Random black stranger on the internet that you're not going to listen to. That's the other reason that you want people to pay for it. Again, it could be $1. Like for me, my Patreon tiers all have the same benefits because I don't like the concept. For me personally, and just like my general neurodivergent sense of justice and fairness, I don't feel like it's right that if somebody could afford $9 or $10 one month or for 6 months, but their circumstances change and they can only afford $1, I don't like the idea that they lose access to content from me. They're still trying to support even in a rough time. So I don't like that. But you need to do that because I also have a space where I'm allowed to, and I'm always allowed to say whatever the fuck I want to, but it is close knit. These people have access to the Discord. Basically, I call it lifetime access to that Discord. And in that way, there's a community of people who are like-minded, and you're less likely, not impossible, but you're less likely to get weird trolls and people who are trying to infiltrate your community to be assholes and like ruin things. So I'm not saying people won't pay to like try to embarrass you or humiliate you, which we did see a little bit of, but that's because she was in trouble. Illuminati, she was already causing problems, so people like trying to come in and see what the fuck's going on. But just generally, that's how you protect your space and your peace. Your peace can't be protected if you can't make people leave. You're welcome. That was free. You don't have to pay me. Not like you would. Sorry about the evil laughter. I can't help it.
People want to follow your growth and your journey. And me too. Like I want to see where Tati's going and I want to go where she's going to.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to sign up for this list.
Oh my God. Thank you. This is so amazing.
I'm down to do like a joint meetup with you. Like
Yes.
honestly.
Oh my gosh. Let's do it. That's
Seriously.
so cool.
Because I feel like we live such, like we're obviously two different people, but we have so many similar parallel things that has happened to us, and we've overcome them eerily.
What are
similarly.
they?
Yes. You know, because I could be petty. I could have been really, I'm Aries, you know, I could be really petty if I wanted to, but then there was this inner voice, and I know it's God saying, be gentle, be kind, and be light no matter what. And I love that you were also walking that path too. I know that it's a longer path, you know, it's a longer path doing the right thing and having integrity, living life with integrity.
Does anyone think it's weird that she keeps alluding to the parallels, but like we don't know what the fuck the parallels are? Okay.
No, in the end, it pays off because I do believe in karma. I do believe when we leave this world, we want to leave with a lighter heart and not have it so heavy with like resentment and anger and all of that.
Yeah.
So
I agree wholeheartedly. I will share with you, this is like in the final note of all of this lessons in life. So I believe what goes around comes around for sure. However, something that I discovered within myself during many of these ups and downs that I try to share with people, just almost to reinforce in myself, is when we're talking about karma and observing it and that someone will get theirs, that you make sure to take your hand off the wheel, because the moment that you're wishing ill on a person is the moment that you've picked that back up yourself.
that is karma.
So let it go.
I'm so sorry. That's not how revenge works. You've got to put it in place. When I'm enacting revenge, I'm definitely putting my fucking hands on the wheel. Now, when we're talking about what goes around comes around and karma, you know what I mean? I'm just like, shit'll play out the way it plays out. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I only hope the worst for you. So I do agree with that to a degree. But also keep in mind that karma or what goes around comes around is not the exact same thing, because people do this all the time with cheating. Well, if they cheated to get with you, then like cheating is going to happen to them. And it's not a like for like thing when you talk about that. Your wrongs will come back to you, not in the exact same way. And sometimes, depending on who cast the spell, worse.
And it's taken me some time to just, even in my inner monologue, even in my inner self, like, because we think these thoughts and like no one knows. And you could be like, like, I hope they get theirs. To really pay attention to that voice and to actually start to like loosening the grip of that toxicity, because once you let it go, it feels so good.
No, it doesn't.
It really feels good. And you feel like, gosh.
And it's, you see it in your face, you know, I notice like I look better after I let go of the heaviness.
What are you
right?
talking about?
I mean, you're literally glowing. It's insane.
It's you can see it in people's eyes.
Yeah, the eyes don't lie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Aw,
that's
thank
why
you so
y'all's
much,
looks
Tati.
crazy.
And,
I'm just
thank you
kidding.
everyone.
I'm just kidding. They don't have crazy eyes. I'm being an asshole. Sorry. I look best when I'm plotting revenge. How do I look right now?
Thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you on the next video.
And that's the end. That is Afterglow. That is the end of this thing. What did we learn? Mostly nothing. We mostly learned nothing. It was relatively awkward. Not good. It wasn't a good interviewer. I hope Michelle can get better at whatever it is that she's trying to accomplish. I feel like if she just wants to have a woo-woo podcast, then just have your woo-woo podcast. It really was a bunch of nothing. Very interesting to watch, but I guess for me, if you have a podcast, the point of having a guest like Tati on is to learn new, interesting things about that person, to really get deep about stuff. This was very surface level, fluff piece. And I don't know how to explain this to either one of them, but like, that's like not why people come to podcasts. People come to podcasts for the down and dirty. You know what I mean? If we wanted a fluff piece, then just be on ET. No hate, but like just be on Entertainment Tonight. That's what that is for. I just feel like this was very, like, again, we have applause that Tati managed to make it through this awful situation and stay sober. Hell yeah. Name's Tanya. That's the birth name. Dead name? I don't know if I can say that. The name is no longer Tanya. It's Tati. This is the new name, Tati. We didn't find out anything new for the most part, other than like alcoholism that she experienced. I wish that we'd learned more about that, because that was more interesting to me, that it was like fleshing Tati out as like a human person. I was like, oh, look at that. Like, but then it just like veered back off into fluffy territory, which I felt like dehumanized her again. Like, it stopped her from being human. I think that's the thing. I wanted to see both of these people be human beings, and they would say things that were like, we're just like you, we have struggles, but like overall I didn't feel that from either one of them. I just felt like I'm just watching two people be fluffers. If you don't know what a fluffer is, it's an adult film when somebody gets the person ready for the action. That's the nicest way I can put it, since this is going to be on YouTube. Yeah, I actually would have enjoyed more talk about sobriety or whatnot, but I felt like it was used as like a truth bomb moment or something. Yeah, and nothing was very concrete. I didn't learn anything interesting about those situations that she encountered. I didn't learn anything about these random parallels that she kept bringing up. She's like, our lives are just so parallel. How, Michelle? You haven't brought up one thing that you experienced that would make me think that you had a parallel, so it makes me feel like you're glazing Tati. Like, I didn't get it. You're like, we've had so many parallels. Like, what? Were you publicly humiliated like this? Did you experience this? Because people who don't really know who you are, they know who Tati is, don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, as a viewer, if I was like a Tati fan and I didn't really know who the hell Michelle was, I would not want to watch this podcast ever again. I'd be like, I don't know anything about you. I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything about either one of you that was sufficient enough to make me feel like, one, this podcast is good and you're a good host, and I can't wait to see your next guest. But two, to feel like you did anything to get us as the viewer, if you're a Tati lover, to learn anything new, interesting, deeper about Tati. Like, learning about the fact that she had overdosed and overcame those things was good, but we didn't go any deeper into that. I just don't think that this was good. I don't think it was a good podcast. I watch a lot of podcasts and I've seen a lot of interviews. So in the end, this is trash to me. I'm never going to think about it again after this. And I'm not going to think about ever watching her podcast again. Also, the woo-woo beginning and ending is awkward. I think you need to work on the intros and the outros, because it's... So yeah, that's it. Not a fun and exciting time. Terrible mostly for, I think, all of us involved. Say hi to Fat Sajak for me. That's a content creator here. I like their acerbic style. They're fun and funny. So if you watch them and you watch me, say hi to them. Thanks. Subscribe if you want. I'm close to 13K. Like, you don't have to, because it's actually giving me gas thinking about getting to 13K. That's like literally all I want to do in this world. But if you make that happen, I'm going to kind of throw up. So thank you. Like the video if you feel like it. Look at me like promoting myself with a scowl. Like, like the video if you feel like it. Do things. Oh yeah, follow me on Twitch if you want to. That's all. That's it. That's all. Thanks. Thank you for watching.